Korea's presidential office has welcomed the DPRK's move. It is the first time in almost 2 years the two nations have opened dialogue. The talks will focus on sending a DPRK delegation to the PyeongChang Winter Olympics next month. The move comes a day after South Korea proposed high-level dialogue with the DPRK following Kim Jong Un's conciliatory New Year's Day speech. Our correspondent Shane Hahm reports from Seoul.
DPRK leader Kim Jong Un is getting into the Olympic spirit. In his annual New Year's address, Kim called for lower military tensions and expressed his willingness to participate in next month's Winter Olympic Games.
The Winter Games to be held in South Korea will be a good occasion for the country. We sincerely hope that the Winter Olympics will be a success. We're prepared to take various steps, including the dispatch of the delegation. Officials from both sides may urgently meet to discuss the possibility.
South Korea immediately welcomed the DPRK leader's comments. The Unification Ministry, which is in charge of DPRK affairs, has proposed holding high-level talks next week at the truce border of Pyongyang. President Moon Jae-in is calling for quick action to resume dialogue with Pyongyang. He believes improved relations can eventually lead to a nuclear-free Korean peninsula.
An improvement in inter-Korean relations is not a separate path from efforts to resolve the DPRK nuclear issue. I ask the Foreign Ministry to closely consult with our allies and the international community to push for an improvement in inter-Korean relations and to resolve the DPRK nuclear issue simultaneously.
South Korea and the DPRK have tried to improve relations through sports in the past. The impact on political relations, however, has been limited.
The DPRK's leader has expressed a willingness to participate in the PyeongChang Winter Olympics without attaching any major conditions. Therefore, this is an opportunity for situations on the Korean peninsula to transition from a state of tension to a state of dialogue.
Some experts say the DPRK leader's New Year's address is an attempt to weaken the South Korea-U.S. alliance. President Moon has said he's willing to sit down and talk with the DPRK if it helps restore relations and leads to peace on the Korean peninsula. The concern, though, is that that would conflict with the U.S.'s policy of pressuring Pyongyang into giving up its nuclear weapons through sanctions. Many will now watch to see if the DPRK's participation in the Olympics comes to fruition and under what circumstances. Shane Hahm, CGTN, Seoul.